for this week's assignment, what I want you to do is you're going to look for a current event, and I don't care how current it is. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be within the last couple of weeks or anything. But really where you can just kind of do like a basic news Google search on, school discipline, troubling behaviors in school or handling difficult behaviors in school, word it however you want, and find an article that's just talking about either how a school is handling a behavior more broadly, or it can be a specific event that happened at a school and what the school is trying to do to handle it. But what I want you to do, and the purpose behind this is beginning to teach kind of some of those skills where we can look at a situation and really analyze it based upon some of the kind of growing knowledge that hopefully we've gotten in the last 2 weeks, but especially this week, of understanding the brain and understanding kind of how we are more reacting to stress rather than making these conscious choices. Now, let me be honest. After you've watched this week's video, I get that some of you might not 100% agree with me, and that's fine. I get that people might fall in different realms, or you might believe that far more students are making choices than I do, and I don't really care whether you agree with me or not. Like, I hope we can be on the same page, but what I want you to do is really, with the article that you find, give it a close read, and really what I want you to be asking yourself is, what approach is the district or is the school really taking at that behavior? Is their response to the behavior implicit that they are responding to it in a way that's assuming that it's kind of the child's choice and we need to convince the children to make better choices? Or is it more kind of saying, hey, there's some kind of root to this issue, and we're trying to understand what the root of the issue is and approach it from that perspective or that direction? And then obviously just give a little bit of evidence to your rationale behind that. It's a 2 to 4 page paper. I am also asking you to include a link to the article, or in some way being able to share which article it was that you read. And I want you to give a summary of the article as well. And that's what's going to help it, to be kind of easy to get up to 2 to 4. What I'd say is, as I look through a lot of different articles, what you'll probably find is a mixture of both. Like, there's some things being put in place that are kind of implying that, they are trying to work with and put things in place, and they're, at least a recognition that, other things happening in the child's life are making them more likely to exhibit some of these behaviors. Yet at the same time, some of the responses or the way that they word things or quotes from teachers are going to imply that it is based a little bit more on assuming that they're choosing to act in the manner in which they're acting. And then once you kind of finish that part up, in your conclusion, I really want you to be thinking through, do you agree with the school? Do you think that their plan forward is going to work, whatever their plan is? How effective do you think it's going to be in the long run? Like, for instance, I just quick look to make sure as I'm asking you to do this that you can find articles, and I found a bunch really quickly. One that I looked at was from this school in Kalamazoo, and they were talking about, and this is something we'll talk about more later, but how they're utilizing restorative practices, and they cut their suspensions down to 0. And on paper, they're like, oh, this looks great. But from a community culture side, they were kind of like, we're not so sure this is great, because they don't know if, like, people don't feel safe at school, because there's like almost no regard for things that used to have students leave the school before. And it's not that all the behaviors are gone, it's just that they're handling them a little bit differently. And so, and they don't necessarily have complete staff and student buy-in into the plan. And so on that one, I'd be saying that really the direction of their plan seems to be stating that they're understanding that it's more of a reaction of the students based on their lives. And therefore, like, I think that they're working from a good spot, but their buy-in is low, and with a low buy-in creates a pretty negative culture at the school. So that's what I would be discussing for how it is moving forward, and what some of my fears would be for that school moving forward. So I hope that makes sense. With this, I mean, in terms of how I'm going to grade it, obviously, length and grammar, but the biggest thing that I'm looking for is that you're understanding the content that I've shared the last 2 weeks. You're understanding the basics of how the brain works. You're understanding, at least my perception, my perspective, the ideas that I've shared about how our brain is going to respond to stress and why that's going to cause certain behaviors. And that you're able to look at a school's response and decide, it's not whether it's right or wrong, if it's the best solution or the worst solution, but whether they are looking at it from that lens of, this is a decision that the children are making to act this way, or this is a reaction that the children are doing. So Thanks a lot. Good luck. I look forward to reading them.